Okay, love. It says love one. Okay, love. I think I'm gonna.
Hi, good evening, incredible Tjhokos, and welcome to the Four Seasons. Not the Four Seasons Hotel, unfortunately. We seem to be having four seasons in one day across the country by the sounds of things. It's lovely to be here. I am Trish, and welcome to our second Christmas live. Christmas marathon live. Excuse the fur babies in the back there. They're not very happy campers, but we'll sort them out. So I think what I'm going to start with, I'm first going to start with just going through everything that I have received from Tjhoko Paints. And then there's also quite a few add-ons that I have brought into it as well, just because we can. And for those of you who know me, you know that there's never too much. There's never such a thing as too much of muchness. So I'm going to go through what I received from Tjhoko Paints. I received some gorgeous little sample pots. So I received July. I received a Frix Forest. I received some Simply Sipiwe. And then the last two is Tennis's Terracotta. And then I have Olivia's Pale. So absolutely gorgeous colors to work with. And then I also received this lovely A4 stencil. So I'm going to be showing you what we're going to be doing with this. I have a bit of a production line going. So the idea is to start on the one end and then work our way across. I will be going through everything with you as we go along. Jason is here to help. Michelle is also on the back end. I have got you propped up on my tripod. So if we need to move around a little bit, we'll move around a little bit. We will get there. The next thing that I received is this adorable little 10 by 10 centimeter stencil. Absolutely gorgeous. Love it to bits and pieces. And then something that I was so very excited about, and I actually called dibs on it. So this is one of the woodland stencils. So very, very beautiful. One of the many things that I love about Tjhoko Paints, well, actually, I must say two things. So number one, eco-friendly. So because it's eco-friendly, it means that it's kind to our planet. And I love to reduce, reuse, recycle, and repurpose as much as possible. So the whole idea behind tonight's inspiration for Christmas ideas and stuff like that is to use as much as what we possibly can so that we don't waste anything, and give you ideas and hopefully inspire you to create some precious handmade with heart little goodies from what we literally have lying around the house. So the first thing that we are going to start with, I made these little Christmas tags. I just have to hold them up. I hope you can see them nicely. Okay, so I used some of the woodland stencil over here. Okay, and then my add-ons was some other Tjhoko Paint stencils. We will go through that nicely. So this is actually the cardboard that comes with the stencil. So we're going to be making a few of these, which are lovely to use as little Christmas gift tags. And then, of course, the ribbons from our Tjhoko Paint jars. We are going to repurpose those as well to hang our little tags on. Before I get started, let me just also quickly go through the few things, the add-ons that I've incorporated. So obviously, clear glaze. We're going to be using clear glaze tonight. We need stencil brushes. We need some a Syntho Soft brush. I also have a lot of different size artist brushes because we're going to be creating quite a few different little things. Antique brown glaze, which is one of my absolute favorites. I can't go without antique brown glaze. Okay, another color I incorporated was the new 22, which is the latest addition to the Tjhoko paint whites. It's absolutely beautiful. I think you're going to love it. Okay, and quickly, Carp Sonoy, which I'm also very much in love with. I used Carp Sonoy over here on this little tag with my Tjhoko Paints A5 striped stencil. That was also an add-on. And then, of course, Wild is a color that's grown on me. So I really love that. I used the Wild over here on this. So here we go. I think I've basically covered all of those bases. Oh, and Creative Crystal. Creative Crystal I used to do the stencil work on this over here, which is also one of Tjhoko Paint's 10 by 10 stencils. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside for now. We are going to start, just so that I can quickly go through how to make these little tags with you. And then if Jason needs to adjust, if anybody can't see, then we will sort that out. Okay, because the stencil is exactly the same size as the cardboard, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit of my painter's tape. And I'm just going to secure it a little bit around on the edges onto my sheet protector that I got from Tjhoko Paints. Just a little, just to hold it there for me. And that's that. So on this one over here, I thought we can use a little bit of July. I'm just going to give it a quick shake. With stenciling, we really don't need much. So I'm just going to literally use what's in here, stencil brush nice and clean, just to dab the little top sections in over there. Okay, we're going to just remove a little bit of the excess. And then I'm just going to hold it as well, and off we go. That's it. It's as easy as that. Circular motions. And you will be surprised how far you get with so little. If you are looking for a more subtle stencil effect, you can just do one coat. Alternatively, if you would like it to be a little bit darker, you can just apply a second coat as well. So we're just going to do all of these. I'm just using my finger just to make sure that I don't get the Tjhoko paint on over there. And it's actually really, really easy to do. Another thing that I was thinking about as well, you know, this is also a wonderful project that you can include the kiddywinkles in. Creating art and being creative is not just such a wonderful form of expression, it's also so good for our kids for their hand-eye coordination. And I think that it will also make them feel so incredibly special and give them a wonderful sense of purpose to know that they can also make something so lovely. And it really is fun to do as a whole family. So I think I have just quickly gone over it, just a once over. That's all I wanted to do. And then we're going to lift the stencil up, and then we're going to have a look-see. I'm just going to close this one over here for now. I'm just going to gently lift my masking tape off of here. The painter's tape, should I say. The painter's tape to me is always so much more forgiving than the masking tape. So I'm we go. And there we have it done. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you just how to fold it to get them ready to make the little cards. Clean your stencil. I'm not going to do mine now. I will do it at a later stage. I'm just going to plonk it over there. So this, I'm just going to turn over onto the back side. I'm not stressed about it smudging because I've done a very thin application. So what I do is I literally just fold my cardboard. Let me actually just move these little taggies out the way. I hope that you can all see. I'm just going to fold my cardboard. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then I'm going to fold it in half again, just to make sure that it lines up. Like that. And then we'll do it again to the center line over there. And then we are going to fold this one into the center line over there. So I'm not sure if you can see, and then you can cut each square out, and then what you do is you just fold it in half. And then I thought a lovely little touch is to do it on both sides. So we have a little mushroom over there, and with this I just added a couple of little drops myself with a small artist brush, just to give the mushroom a little bit of a something. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next thing. So this is actually something that's very special to my heart, is of course our Tjhoko paint jars. We have a lot of people asking regularly on the groups of what can be done with our Tjhoko paint jars. We have literally hundreds of examples on the group. And please don't forget, we also have the Tjhoko YouTube channel. If you haven't done so, please subscribe and also like the videos that you watch. When people ask for ideas and inspiration, you'll get the occasional comments, "Goeiedag." And when I see that, I can't lie. It's like, it blows my mind. So, no ma'am, no siree, we don't do that here. We do not throw our jars away. We repurpose our jars. We reuse our jars into the most amazing, incredible things. If after tonight's live, after looking on the creations group, after watching videos, incredible ideas, you still don't want your jars, please, I'm asking you nicely, don't throw them away. Can you rather consider donating them? You can donate them to your local charities and to your local churches. They use the jars, the older tannies, they use the jars for preserves. They use the jars for jams. This then brings in extra funding. And then another very special idea, and I can't take credit for this. This was shared by Jacques van der Westhuizen. I know he's very busy. He might watch later. So Jacques, baie dankie vir jou omgee en jou mooi hart. You have inspired me to do something special this year. So what you can do with your larger jars, this is like a meal kit. So these meal kits can be used, they are donated to families in need, to underprivileged families who don't have anything. So I myself, I have 3 1-liter jars. So my 1-liter jars are going to be used to create these meal kits. So it's just rice. I've put some split peas in there. I've put a few lentils, some barley, and then on the side of the jar, just a little soup packet. This Christmas, this festive season, I would like for us all to just be a little bit more mindful. We have a tendency to take so much for granted. Despite everything that happens in our lives, and the world keeps turning, and there's a whole lot of different things that go on at once, we have so much to be thankful and grateful for. So if we can just be a little bit more mindful, do better and be better, help wherever we can help, I feel it's going to go a very long way. So that is what I am going to be doing with my 1 litre jars. My 500 ml jars I don't have yet. I have started washing them. Those are going to be used for cookies and for marshmallows. I'm going to set this aside. And then the 250 ml jars, these little 250 ml jars, I have quite a few of them, which I'm very thankful for. Each and every single one of these little jars, we're gonna work on one together during this live. Each of these little jars, I am going to paint, I am going to decoupage, and we're going to make a biolika little lappy boa with a gorgeous little ribbon. These jars are for the little children. I thought that it could make a really special gift for them. And each of these jars are going to be filled with little sweets. So that's one thing that we are going to be working on together. And then this I wanted to share with you as well. So this is a stencil of Paris jar. I washed my jar. And also when it comes to cleaning the jars, a little bit of elbow grease, it never hurt anybody. It really hasn't hurt anybody. We have plenty of tips and tricks as well on how to get the jars cleaned super easy. So this is just a little stencil of Paris jar. I felt it didn't need to be painted because it was olik as it was. It has some nuts in it. We have a lovely little nut shop at South Coast Mall. So you can buy a bag of nuts. I think the assorted nuts in here was 36 Rand. And I only used half of the bag in here. So 18, I'm not very good with maths. So 18 Rand. So you can get a really sweet little gift for somebody for 18 Rand. So I'm also going to show you how to stencil on Hessian. That's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to move these aside. I'm going to move this away for now. Okay, so for time purposes, I have already prepped and painted my jar. How do we do that? We thoroughly clean our jar with Power Fix lacquer thinners. Must be done properly. I do mine 3 times. Allow it to dry for at least 40 minutes, and then you can go ahead and you can paint your jar. I painted mine in 22. And then I don't know if you can see, I used a very subtle antique brown glaze application over there. I think I will show you quickly just how to do that, just to add a little bit of detail onto the jar itself. If you don't want to make little covers or lappies for your jars, it's not a problem. Not a problem at all. You can also paint your lids. Remember, the lids are plastic. Plastic contains oil. Tjhoko paint is a water-based product. So what do we do when painting our lids? We lightly sand it with 100 grit sandpaper first, just to rough the surface up a little bit. And then we thoroughly clean it with Power Fix lacquer thinners. And then you can paint your lids. So let me just quickly show you how to work with the antique brown glaze over on here quickly before we carry on to the rest of our goodies. So I'm just going to give my antique brown glaze a little shake. I'm going to move these over there. So we're trying a completely different setup tonight. And I myself am a little bit technologically challenged, I can't lie, but we will get there. Trial and error, we will get there. So I always have my microfiber cloth handy. Tjhoko Paints sells them online. There's 3 per pack. last for Yonky Donks. And I'm just going to literally just dip my brush into my antique brown glaze. And I'm just going to carefully, look, I'm just going to brush it over to the raised areas of the console. That's it. Just smudge it on over there. Okay, and then I'm just going to take it just like that, and I'm just going to gently wipe over it. Just gently. See, I turn my cloth just a little bit. Just a little bit. And then what's left on my cloth, I'm not going to waste it. You can just gently wipe over the jar, and it just creates a little bit of a shadowed effect. So there we have that. So now that that's done, I'm just going to set this aside. I'm not going to go over the entire jar because ideally we want our glaze to dry properly and our paint before doing our decoupage. So I have my clear glaze. I have already taken the time to get organized and cut out just a few little sections of my Christmas serviette that we are going to be using. Christmas serviettes are available basically anywhere, any supermarket. You can look at Mr. Price home stores even. This particular one I was very blessed with. I got it from my friend Vilma. She brought it back when she visited Germany. So I'm going to use one of my smaller little artist brushes, and I have my clear glaze that I'm going to use undiluted. Okay, there doesn't have to be a specific placement. You can, if you want to, you can do it beforehand and decide where you want it to be. I'm just going to sort of go for it. So I'm just holding my finger over here like that. I'm just dipping, and then I'm literally just brushing over like that. So we just go over it just like that. It's very, very easy. If I am using larger bits of serviette, then I like to have my cling wrap handy. But with these, because they're so small, it's actually just so very, very easy to place them on. Jason says I have to remind you again, please, to remove the back of the serviette. Okay, so you remove the additional layers and you only use the top part. So you can see it's really very thin that I'm working with. Okay, this one I'm just going to put over onto here. I'm going to hold it so that you can see it, and we just brush it on. We just carefully, gently brush it on. And there we go. And then what you will do is you will just continue with all your additional little pieces around your jar until your jar is complete. I'm going to close my glaze for now, and I'm going to set this aside. If there's any extra questions or comments on that, please, you can just shout. Michelle is there to help, and I will also check through all comments and everything like that when the live is finished. So I'm going to use this gorgeous stencil. We're going to use this on Hessian. I'm just going to take one of my extra stencil brushes. My stencil brushes might not look very pretty, but if they ain't broke, don't fix it. I've had them from Tjhoko Paint for many, many years, and they still work absolute wonders. I think I'm going to use some Fix Forest. I'm just going to give it a little shaky shake. That one I can set aside. go. Just going to take my wax paper off. Okay, I'm just going to actually use what's on there, and I'm going to seal this one. So we only need a little bit. Stenciling on Hessian is actually so easy, and it's so much more forgiving. So if you use a little bit more paint, it's not a problem. So we're just going to do that. I'm only going to focus on the center of the Hessian. You are more than welcome to continue, realign your stencil and do the whole bit. But for me, as long as the center is done, that's what's most important. There we go. I'm just holding mine with my fingers because it is smaller and it's more manageable. But you are welcome to use your painter's tape to hold yours in place as well. That's not a problem. And you can also create a kind of a mottled effect if you do slightly darker on the one side and then lighter on the other. That also looks really, really beautiful. Okay, let's lift it up and let's have a little peek-see. So that side is a little bit darker. I'm just going to balance it out just a little bit and make this side a little bit darker. And that side. Okay. And then you remove your stencil, and then you have your stencil work on your Hessian. And then that will then go over onto the jar, and the ribbon will tie over beautifully. Okay, so that's stenciling on Hessian. And now we are going to do a little bit of stenciling onto calico. I'm going to move this one over onto that side as well. And I think for my calico, I will use a little bit of July. July is a beautiful burnt orange color. I absolutely love it to bits. I just want to do something here quickly. I'm going to use my wipe because I want to use my smaller stencil again actually for this one as well. So I just want to just give it a quick wipe just to make sure that most of the green is off before we continue, and then we're just going to dry it just a little bit. There we go. There we go. I'm just dabbing it dry onto my cloth. All right. And now we can start. Let's just take off just a little bit of the excess. I hope you can all see. And we just go. Small circular motions. I'm just using my fingers to hold mine in place. Just a tip. Usually when working on fabric, Tjhoko paint works beautifully on naturally woven fabrics. We don't recommend painting synthetic fabric at all. Synthetics have a tendency to go really hard. They don't absorb the paint as well, and they can crack. Also, if you are working on a project that is going to be a functional piece, when I speak about a functional piece, I mean something like a pillowcase or a tablecloth. Once your paint is dry, you flip it over and you iron on the reverse side of it to set it. And you'll also notice that the fabric absorbs the paint a bit more. So because mine are only just for decorative purposes, I am not going to be ironing on the reverse side of it to set it. Let's just lift it just a little bit, and then I can have a look-see how we are doing. There we go. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It really, really doesn't. I'm not even worried about those little sections. It's imperfectly perfect. So what you could do is, if you wanted, you can just realign your stencil. So you line it up again, and then you just shift it over, and then you can continue to do your stencil work all the way over onto the edge of your lappy, like I have done with this one over here. So there we go. So now we've done stenciling onto calico as well. So I'm going to set this aside now. I'm going to set this aside because that is done. I'm just going to close my July. I think I've covered all the bases on this side. And then something else that I had lying around was some of this thicker cardboard. I thought that these could be really, really sweet as Christmas cards. So you can use these as Christmas cards, or what you could even do is you could punch some holes in them as well and use them as larger gift tags, like what I have used over here, this beautiful twine. Here I did a little smaller one. People don't all know that Tjhoko paints is also, because it's a chalk paint, it can be used as a chalkboard surface. So all of the Tjhoko paint colors can be used as a chalkboard surface. So even if you glaze it or unglazed, you can just take a damp cloth and you can just wipe it off. So I can show you. See? And it's off. And then another little thing that I'm going to show you is how to apply. I had some little extra ribbon offcuts. So I apply these with undiluted clear glaze. So let's just do a little card and let's just go through one of these little ones. It's also a fabulous little idea. So I'm going to use my larger brush for this one, just to give it a quick coat. This is my little Olivia's Pale. So I can use some Olivia's Pale. I'm just going to take that little bit off. Just going to dip it in. And we're just going to paint it. And because it's cardboard, there's absolutely no prep work required. And only one coat is needed to obtain full even coverage. I like to just do the little edgy bits as well, just so that it looks nice. And then I also like to paint at the back. I will show you on this one. I also painted on the back of it as well, just to make it pretty. So I'm going to set this one here just for a little while. I want that to dry. That's perfect. See? One coat is absolutely perfect and all that you need. So a little really, really does go a long way. This little one over here, I'm letting this dry because I'm going to show you how to use the ribbon on that piece. I'm going to set this aside because I don't want to reuse a stencil brush that I've already used. I'm just going to put this one over here. That can dry a little bit. And let's do a little bit of Simply Sipiwe. We have some Tennessee terracotta. No, I'm going to do some frick. I'm going to do some frick again. I will just use one of these brushes quickly. And it really is so very, very easy. And it's okay. if you get paint on you. It's not a train smash. I'm having a look in the corner over there, and then I realized while we were busy trying to set everything up, I forgot to put my apron on. But that is okay. It's not a problem. So we just do this. I just want to give it one coat. Just one coat. One nice full coat everywhere. Just one coat. By the time this is done, that's basically dry already. Cardboard are very forgiving surfaces, and then you can, at a later stage, you can just go ahead and you can touch up over there. I want to move this one away as well, because I don't want those bits sticking over there. So I'm going to let this dry just for a short little while. We're going to do something with that over there. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit. Ideally speaking, it's best to allow this to dry for at least an hour. You don't have to wait a minimum of 4 hours because it is a cardboard surface, but we're going to take a chance for time purposes and apply our ribbon with undiluted clear glaze. So I have literally just a little cuppy over here. I'm just going to pour some clear glaze into this little cuppy. Like that. I don't need much. I don't need much at all. And we're just going to dip the ribbon in there. And I don't know if you can see. Just submerge it nicely into the glaze. Okay. And then we're just going to pull it out. And we're just going to put it down. Just like that. Just like that. And then what I can do is just take my microfiber cloth and I'm just going to gently dab, dab, and dab. There we go. I do see there's a little corner that I skipped, but it's not a problem. We can touch that up. We can touch that up. This glaze is not going to go to waste. I'm going to put it in a separate airtight container and I will use it for another project. Okay. And then what you can do is you can just write on with chalk. So if you are using a lighter colored chalk paint like white or a cream, you can use a different colored chalk just to write on. So I'm just going to show you quickly. We're just going to say, and there we go. And this little one will be for Sue. And then you go ahead and you can either attach a Tjhoko paint ribbon or some twine or something else like that. So I think it's super, super cute. Okay, so my Fritz Forest is painted. It's a little bit wet in certain areas, but it's not a train smash. I'm going to continue with this fabulous woodland stencil. So this one over here, I used the female fox. Fox, both the same.
Foxette, I think.
Foxette. So I used the female fox on this one over here. So on this one, I'm going to do the male. So obviously, he's not going to fit this way around. So we're going to make him work the other way around. So this card will be a little bit different. So we make a plan. So I'm going to put him over there like that. And then, of course, I'm just going to use a few of these bits that I've already cut off. I'm just going to tear some off here. I'm just going to tear some off here. And of course, you know what? This is such a wonderful, wonderful stencil because you can use it literally over and over again. And you have so many different possibilities of what you can do with it. So it's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I'm just taping off the areas that I don't at this stage want to risk getting any paint onto. So we're going to do that. And I think for him, I am going to use, seeing as she was done in Tina's terracotta, I am going to do him in some simplicity way. Let me just close my Frix Forest, please. Yeah, let's limit the time that our paint is exposed to the air. Do what I say, not what I do. Pretty please with cherries on top. Okay. So I'm going to seal that because I can use just that little bit of paint from there. I'm going to take another brush. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure that I have much less paint. Okay, I'm not working on fabric. Fabric is more absorbent, and we're just going to start. We're just going to start. Okay, so you'll notice I didn't tape those areas, so I'm just going to go a little bit carefully over there. And we just go. That's it. I can honestly get lost for hours and hours and hours. I always say that Tjhoko paints is how I find myself and lose myself at the same time. It truly is just so incredibly therapeutic. So I just want to put a little bit more over there. And that's it. So obviously, if you would like him to be a little bit darker, because at this moment, if you're having a look at it, it's giving a little bit of a mottled effect. You can still see the darker Frix Forest coming through. So you can leave it to dry for a couple of minutes. You can even leave the stencil like this. It's okay. And then just put another coat on. But I myself, at this moment in time, I am okay. I actually think that that is really super, super, super cute. So what you could do with him, very similar to what I did with our foxy lady over here, I just taped off certain areas of the different leaves that I wanted to use. So you can go ahead and you can apply those, and you can maybe use something like the Olivia's Pale on over there. So, incredible people, let's have a look what we have. We have some gorgeous gift jars. Okay, we have some of these. We've done stenciling on Hessian, on Calico. We've done some gorgeous little tags. Oh, you know what? This would also look really, really lovely if you buy a gorgeous bottle of wine. I myself don't have a bottle of wine. It's not all doom and gloom though. I do have gin. So you could even place, yeah, thankfully, I'm very blessed. So you could even place something like this over the wine bottle. So it's super, super cute. All things from around the house that you can upcycle and repurpose. And all that is done with love is done well. I promise you, nothing is more special than somebody taking the time to gift you something. So we have our gorgeous, gorgeous little taggies and all these other little things. Incredible Tjhoko's. I really am so thankful and so grateful for the opportunity to be able to have spent time with you again. I really hope that I have given you a few ideas, perhaps inspired you to go ahead and to create some of your own. It's been absolutely amazing, a little bit stressful leading up to this. In this household, when things happen, they happen, and everything happens at once. from our home to your home, wherever you are watching from, I'm sending you tons and tons of Tjhoko love. Thank you. Bye.